Life is a journey, a winding road filled with challenges, uncertainty, and moments that test our strength. Welcome to The Way Home, a space where mind, body, and spirit come together in the pursuit of peace and purpose. The Way Home is more than a podcast. It's a path toward comfort, clarity, and connection. So wherever you are on your journey, take a deep breath, open your heart, and walk with us. This is The Way Home, presented by Plymouth Rock TV and Setting the Space.
Ready to get started?
It's ready. Born ready.
The wonderful Sharmin Wengender is here, and we are...
the amazing Chuck.
Oh, geez. The compliments are flowing. I guess we're going to talk a little bit about confidence today, right?
We're going to talk about talking.
Yeah?
And confidence and power. So our confidence and power hide in the way that we talk. It hides in the way that we talk to ourselves. It hides in the way that we talk to others. And it hides in who we choose to share certain things with. So there's a lot today. I think it's going to be really fun.
So confidence is obviously very important for anybody who is trying to just be at peace with themselves, right? Because if you're unconfident, you're definitely going to experience misery and uncertainty, weakness. And,
self-doubt, all the things.
And it'll prevent you from doing things.
Yeah,
maybe prevent you from meeting people, talking to people, but it's
lowers your frequency.
Right.
Right.
And then you have the dichotomy with confidence and cockiness or arrogance, or
not the same.
Not the same thing. So let's get on the same page with all of this. Confidence to you is what? What would you say?
Confidence is having your own internal compass. Like you are not tethered to other people's opinions or validation of you. Yeah. Right? And I think that that's a rarity. I think there's, it's especially with social media, we have so much access to other people's opinions of us. Yeah. And it's hard to block out that noise. But confident people don't need or are not tethered to that. They are able to have blinders to that, keep their eyes on their own mat, as we talked about in the last episode. Yeah. They trust their own judgment, right? Yeah. So, and they listen to their own thoughts. That's really all it is. And it's feeding yourself thoughts that propel you forward. And you're always focused on your own momentum or journey. And you don't even see failure as a bad thing. You see it as a opportunity for growth. And it's like this relationship with yourself. Confident people, the way they speak, first of all, body language, 60 to 80% of what we're trying to communicate is conveyed through our body language, the nonverbal cues. And we don't spend enough time teaching about that. If you look in a classroom, if you're a teacher or you're at a boardroom and you're in a conference table and you're looking around, you can see the confident people. In fact, as soon as they walk in the door, confident people, they can make eye contact. They kind of maybe gaze the room, maybe, but they are so self-assured that they know exactly where they're going. They sit down and they take up space. Confident people, what do they call that? Man-spreading? I mean,
another topic for our merchandise.
Yes, so it's like you take more room.
Boy, that was just interesting how you even sat there. I was like, what a whole
different expression,
it was like you turned into somebody else.
Yeah,
just like that.
It's taking up more space. Confident people take up more space. Insecure people who are doubting themselves, they walk in the room and they are looking, first of all, they don't want to make eye contact, so they're averting their gaze, but they're actually looking to get a read on everyone in the room because they're seeking validation. Yeah. Do I fit in this room? Am I out of place? They're already having a narrative that is not confident. Right. And then they sit down and they take up as small a space as they can. Yeah. Do you ever see people who shrink? Right. And then there's people at a meeting whose arms are out when they're speaking. Yeah. They're out, and then there's people who want to put their hands in their pocket. It's body language.
So, even you say taking up more space is confidence. So that's good. Great.
Fake it till you make it.
I'm taking up a lot of space these days, so I'm going to change my whole routine.
I know, I got to get out.
Caloric confidence, that's what I'll call it. But
you can't make me laugh today because I'm going to cough.
So when people do have confidence, when they're... confidence might not be the ability to do something, right? Like if I'm confident that I could go out and catch a fish because I've done it before, or I've had some success there. But that doesn't mean I'm confident in just talking to somebody while I'm catching a fish. Does that make sense? Like if I'm,
Sure.
Confidence is not the ability to do something.
No, that's great that you point.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So basically, each of us are separated into many different categories: spiritually, emotionally, financially. You know, there's different physical. There's different areas where you can feel confident. And really, it comes back to all of our other shows. It's self-reflection. How are you feeling in the different categories of your own life? That is how you build confidence. It's you know, comparison, they say, is a thief of joy. Confident people do not compare themselves to anyone else. Confident people compare themselves to who they were yesterday, right? So, and you're constantly in this relationship with yourself. Well, like, I don't feel great physically, so I'm going to do something to build that up. I'm not looking at how anybody else is, because that'll make me feel weaker. But I'm more powerful if I'm connected to myself, I'm listening to my thoughts, and I'm taking actionable steps towards what I desire. So also, the way we think it matters. We talked about the broadcast that we're putting out into the universe. What we speak and what we think basically goes out to the universe. It gets accepted, and it comes back as our experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's very simple. So what you think and say is speaking into existence your reality. Even your silent talking, even your self-talking. You can't say, gosh, I really wish I could have these financial windfalls and opportunities, and then have the thoughts of, speak to yourself and say, I'm broke. Or say, I really wish people would say my name in rooms that I'm not in. I really wish, you know, luck would find me. And then have thoughts, but I'm unlucky. Self-talk matters, and it strengthens your aura. It strengthens your composition, your self-image, so that your confidence builds if you continuously self-talk in a way that's congruent with what you're trying to achieve.
So you mentioned, so there's certain layers here. We got the physical side of it, the nonverbal, where it can be, aside from everything you say, do, or think, or whatever, your posture, your shoulders back, you're standing tall and erect, and you're confident in your words. That is just a purely almost an aesthetic confidence. That is what you're emitting.
But it tricks your brain.
Right.
Because your brain is a computer.
Right.
And it says, when I shrink, it knows what you're thinking. When you shrink, you're thinking small thoughts.
Because when you're unaware of your lack of confidence or your mood or whatever, you will slouch. Or, you know,
but if you catch yourself, it becomes something that if you always, again, comparison's a thief of joy. If you're comparing yourself to who you were yesterday or who you were in a moment ago compared to who you are because you choose to be different right now, then you're always in control. And you always have agency over how people perceive you, right? Not that you care, but you have this energy, and your brain is a computer. It's just data. If I shrink and I avert my eyes, my computer is getting you're feeling like low self-worth, right? But if I open my body language up and I really take up space and I'm really looking at you, then I'm owning my space, and my computer starts to feel good, and it starts to give me the feelings that are congruent with that physical shape I'm taking.
Right.
Right? So you can fake it till you make it. There's a lot of, so I used to do coaching with young girls and young boys, little workshops to help with their self-esteem. And one of the things, the Wonder Woman pose. Put your hands on your hips. Look at the way your elbows take up so much space. If you have to give a presentation and they're setting up and it's like, you know, a minute or so before you start, stand there and take up space before you begin. Get your confidence, get your head right. Feel confident in holding a gaze, right? And then your body will believe it, and you start to convey the message that you want. Confident people don't ramble. Confident people use fewer words. Confident people don't overshare.
Oops.
They don't say, I am a recovering oversharer, right? I overshare, I overexplain. I don't now, or I'm sure I do sometimes because we're all a work in progress. But confident people let their words land and resonate. Confident people listen to understand. They're observing the room. They let other people argue. They sit back and are like a witness to it, right? And then when they speak in a way that is a response and not a reaction to other people. Confident people don't react. And they're definitely not seeking validation on anything that they say or do. And that comes across. When we overshare, and I think we all do it out of insecurity, right? In a conversation, when we start oversharing, we're typically trying to bond or connect. And maybe the other person isn't talking and now we're awkward. Who hasn't been in that position? So you're filling the gaps with whatever you can and you're trying to connect and I hope they like me and now you're trying to be funny and you're using all your tricks, but it's manipulation because really you're tethered to their validation of you. Did you ever leave a conversation and say to yourself, why did I say that? Why did I share that with them? Especially in the workplace. So let me make a clarification here. To be fair, oversharing and sharing who we are is one of the most beautiful ways to connect, right? So this is a confusing message maybe, but let me clarify. Discernment is important. Confident people have the discernment to read who can I trust, who is genuine, who's in my inner circle. And those are the people you share with. Those are the people you show your heart to and you give your stories to because you know they're going to receive it. They're seeking to understand. They're going to support you, right? So you use your discernment because not everybody should be able to have access to you. We are not a buffet just splayed out for everyone's consumption, right? We have to decide who deserves that access, that piece of me. So we want to be careful when we're feeling insecure that we're not just gabbing away, yapping away, and saying things that we might regret or we might be revealing too much in an effort just to, fill the space, right?
And the space can be awkward enough where if you're just socially uncomfortable, you fill it with, and this is a common interrogation technique, and I was discussing this with our intern who was in about interviewing, that sometimes just letting that pregnant pause sit there reveals in a it's going to sound wrong, in a combative interview setting where I asked you a question, let's say you were a politician, and I asked for a question and you answered it in the canned way that you were told to answer it. And then I just sat there and waited.
Yes.
Then now it's just completely your internal mechanism that is sensing an uncomfortable situation is just going to fill it with, oh, and I also meant to say I stole millions of dollars from the state treasury or something, whatever.
You're so right, because they fill it.
Yeah.
So that is called the 5-second rule. And I'm so glad you brought that up because this is a really great tool. Again, confident people don't react. They respond. There are people who prey on our downfall or really want to trigger us or get a reaction out of us, and especially in an interrogation, right? In any situation when you're feeling triggered, where you're feeling like you want to react and you might be revealing too much or you might, be giving them more than you want to give to yourself, that 5-second rule allows you, so say or if someone offends you, right? Like you've been in conversations and someone says something disparaging or just kind of, what's that, like undermining,
Yeah, backhanded.
Backhanded, that's what I was going for.
Yeah,
and that happens. I mean, it happens all the time, right? So 5-second rule is really great because a reaction to it eliminates your power. It weakens you if you react. That's what they want. If you do the 5-second rule, then you hold their gaze, you take a breath, and then you respond. 5 seconds. It's enough for them to sit with what they did, and you didn't react. And that pause, very powerful.
It also applies if you drop food on the floor. You have 5 seconds to pick it up.
It's true, but don't make me laugh because I'm going to go.
Before germs attack it.
It's an important 5 seconds.
There's science
Use
behind
it wisely.
that too. Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I think that, our bodies are reactionary. If I pinch you, you're going to, and you can pinch with words, and then you just control the reaction to it, because you could overreact too quickly first.
If you just give it 5 seconds, you kind of, it's like if it is a power struggle, right, between two people, and if you feel that way, where someone's trying to limit your power, weaken you in some way, we know it, we feel it, we have that discernment, then 5 seconds will allow you to kind of reclaim your power. It's a very powerful move to do that. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
For sure. So So again, we're talking about the nonverbals, and then with posture and your physicality there.
Yeah.
Different for men and women, because I think it goes because I think you mentioned the Wonder Woman pose, right?
Okay, right. That's what it's called.
Right.
But really, it's because this is how she stood.
Yeah.
You know?
And I get it, but I'm just wondering if it goes back to study of human strength and how they presented themselves thousands of years ago in terms of fight mode or like aggressive, like an athletic stance is different than your more relaxed or am I leaning in or whatever. All the what am I thinking of?
The cues. You're just
whatever.
They're all nonverbal cues.
Yeah. But society might say that's a woman standing at that might show power certainly. But could it have a different meaning?
It actually makes testosterone. So it's funny you use the man versus female. So we all have male and female energy. Testosterone runs in both of us. But so when you stand like this, you get testosterone. So it's kind of powerful. You feel powerful, right?
Very cool.
Take up more space.
Yeah.
So I used to joke when I did the kids empowerment things that boy's coming over to talk to you, and you're at your locker. You stand with your hands on your hips before he gets there. Get confident.
Yeah.
But it's fun to work with because it really does change the brain chemistry. Unfortunately, in this world, not everybody wants to see you win, right? Some people are going to want us broken, right? They like us better broken. And as we start to elevate in life, not everyone's going to clap for us. If you're tied to their validation and they're withholding it, you can be tricked into thinking you aren't worthy or you aren't enough or you still didn't impress them, right? And you can get on that hamster wheel of then I better do more, I have to do, right? No, it's just some people want you broken. They like you better broken. As you elevate, some people like you better where they found you. They don't like you changing. And you've got to be okay with people not liking you. You've got to be okay with letting distance form between you and someone who is not cheering for you. And you can't even need them to cheer. If you sense bad vibes, don't apologize. Don't feel bad. Just walk away. It's like the, who's that lady with the blonde hair that everyone's, Mel?
Sharmin Wengender. Right? Is
Heard
that
of her.
I'm thinking of her? Yeah.
Mel Robbins. Let them.
Yeah.
Let people be however they're going to be. Because that's just their process. But you've got to be very crystal clear on your journey. Again, not comparing to anybody else, not being tethered to validation. Trust, and also, too, when you receive other people's opinions and advice by oversharing. Because inadvertently, when you share, you open the door. Like open borders in Mexico, it's like, come on in, everyone has access.
Right.
As soon as I share, you welcome. It's a welcome mat, right?
Yeah.
And if you want privacy boundaries, you need to start with them, right?
Yeah.
So, but if I open that door and if I overshare, and I have and I will and we all do, people are going to give you their opinions and they're going to give you their judgments. And then it gets in your head. And there lies the problem in power. Powerful people, they have a very clear focus and they trust their own thoughts and judgment. If you are constantly letting other people's opinions and advice in your mind, sometimes it's hard to understand which voice is yours.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's interesting, too, the roles that we play in different times of the day where, let's just say I was a police investigator and I'm skilled, very skilled at manipulating interviews and having an agenda to what I'm trying to do, maybe falsely making you believe we're friends or something like that.
Right.
And then get home, am I smart enough to be back to a normal scenario? And the same as if you're a trial attorney and all day you're trying to break the other person, or if you're a debater or journalist or whatever. And then you get home, like as a salesperson, always a salesperson. You hear that often, once you're a salesperson and then you're always pulling those tricks with everybody about everything.
Right, because you know that you
right.
can. It's
so
true.
How easy is it to go in and out of that?
It's very easy. So you have to have like an armor about you, that discernment. And again, I don't want to convey this like, don't tell people your deepest secrets, because really that's a special way. It's the only way to have deep connection. But not everybody deserves that access. And to that point, I just want to reel it back a minute, back the bus up, as I say. Some people forget how important it is to share themselves. You know, parents especially will come to me and they will say, my kid doesn't tell me anything. Well, do you tell your kid anything about you? You know, do as I say, not as I do. It's almost so, it's like so hypocritical. Parents need to show up and say, when I was your age, this is the mistake I made. This is what happened. You know, this is what the night started out as. This is the decision I made because I had no other advice around me. And this is how I've learned. And let me give you my wisdom so you don't have to make the same mistake. Yeah. But instead, parents don't share, right? They think that this separation between like church and state, like what I did as a teenager is none of their business. And you expect them to share with you? And then that you have this environment of no one's talking, no one's deeply connected, and then you're complaining about it. And parents blame the kids and honestly point the finger back at yourself because you set the stage. You set the environment. So start sharing, start deeply connecting with your child about who you actually are, and then they will share with you. Spouses, same thing, right? Yeah. You have to share deeply the hard conversations and listen to understand, and that is how you deeply connect. Yeah. So talking is so powerful. It's so powerful. Talking with yourself. We talked about the self-talk. Sometimes we ruminate all day long. No one knows we're doing it, but we're ruminating about the people who did us dirty, the people who did us wrong, the people who didn't validate us, right? And we're constantly on this hamster wheel about that. No one knows. We can be smiling and doing our daily thing, but we're still pretty pissed and pretty angry that we've been shortchanged in life, okay? You will never achieve your goals or happiness if that is running through your mind. Your thoughts matter. So self-reflection, check your thoughts first. Notice where you're at. Don't spend time and energy. Every thought is spending energy. Every reaction you're giving to somebody is energy. Yeah. And when you understand that energetically, you're just like a big bank and you're trying to hold on to it all day long. Yeah. Then you start to get really careful about what you think, about what you say, and to whom you say it. Right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting because I know that obviously when I was in college, I took Intro to Communications, which was just a lot of nonverbal study of how people communicate with nonverbals, and a lot of that was about confidence. And, and then you take acting courses and things where you're both learning the confidence and the uncomfortable or non-confident ways to deliver, because that sends messages in the theater community, right? If you are undertaking a new role where you're playing a broken character or something, your posture is going to change.
Absolutely, because it's your 60 to 80% of what you're conveying is that. It's your body language,
And then it comes down to the words that you speak too. So that was the physical, and then now how we speak and the words that we choose to say are very powerful. And some examples of that would be just in our day-to-day, how we talk to ourselves or the public, because I think we get very easily lured into saying our comfortable catchphrases. Yeah. And I don't mean a catchphrase like a comedian, get her done or something like that. I mean like a catchphrase that, oh, I hate that, or I love that. We overuse those words, and we completely remove the meaning of them just because it's something that we shout if we kick our foot on the coffee table or something. What if I say I love everything and I don't really mean it? Am I, because I don't mean it, not that I'm disingenuous, but if I say I love that bagel, I don't love the bagel. I'm going to chew it up and poop it out. You know, I mean, that's not love, right? I mean, that's different if I say I love my wife or something like that.
You know, it just matters if you're feeling a positive thought and you say I love my bagel, then eventually, then that's congruent, right? Yeah. So
but do we really love our bagel?
So I mean, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like you're in love with your bagel, but it has to be that you're enjoying it. In love, your bagel is different, but there are people who marry objects. Have you heard of this?
Oh, that's what we should
do. People
do.
Probably marry bagels. I bet somewhere.
During rating season, we'll have to really amp up the salaciousness of the show.
This isn't enough. Yeah. No, but it's true. So, like I said, you can't say. I really wish people thought of me and spoke of me for opportunities in rooms that I'm not in, while you're at home saying, I'm so unlucky. You can't do that. If you're going to say, I love this bagel, but you know, you're saying like, I don't know. I don't know how to make this work.
I love chicken, right? Okay, well, you love the taste of chicken.
It's okay to say you love it. That is not a problem.
I guess my point is not
because it's positive. It doesn't matter how you paint
right.
it. It is semantics. Thank you. That's the perfect word. No, it just matters, Chuck. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling good? And if you're not, change it. Right? It really is so simple. You got to check, how are you feeling when you're meek at the meeting? Does it feel good? Probably not. So maybe just for a minute, take up a little more space and see, wow, kind of feel a little better.
You just did something interesting that I thought was very, very, if it's intentional, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? That you can, the way you just changed your posture presented a whole image of me, or of you to me, that was, I know you, so it's, but if I hadn't known you and you had come in that way and then you sprung out with this confident thing, it would be almost like a magic trick in a way.
What if, Chuck, you're used to me, but what if every time you looked at me, I couldn't even, this conversation would not be the same. We would not be connecting in the way that we are. So the power in our body language is immense. It's limitless. But our thoughts are powerful, and our peace is powerful. If we're giving our peace away to people who don't deserve it, that is too expensive. Every reaction is you're paying for it. So we want to pause and we want to think, like, how do I need to overshare? Am I just oversharing out of insecurity? Am I going to walk away and say, I'm glad I told that person this? Or am I going to say, like, I could have kept it kind, I could have kept it nice, but I probably didn't need to tell them that, something bad happened in my childhood when I was 5 or something. You know what I mean? If we don't need to do that. So, because that person might feel great if I share my story. They might feel like, wow, that's so sweet. But I might feel weaker. Like, why did I give that away? So the important part is, how do you feel? The inventory needs to be that self-reflection, because really, your peace is your power. Your calmness is your strength, right? Confident people are very calm. Their presence is magnetic. People feel lighter around them. And it's because they don't let chaos of the world fluster them. Confident and calm people understand that their internal environment is extended to their outside world. Like how you are on, right? So,
Well, let's take a break, and we'll come back and talk more about word usage examples that I wanted to throw at you and get your thoughts on. And, so we'll take a break, and we'll be right back with more in just a minute.